Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very good. We had another question here.
Sure.
And this was in regards to pull-ups.
Okay.
So this person said when they do pull-ups, they feel a little pain, like right here ish.
Okay.
And sometimes if they go farther out,
Yeah.
they feel better. If they go in, it kind of hurts, and they're thinking it's tennis elbow.
So tennis elbow is actually on the outside of the arm.
On the outside, yeah.
Yeah. Now, just based on what you're saying, it could be a number of things. It could be ulnar nerve irritation.
Ulna.
Yeah, this is your ulna, your bone here.
Right.
You have a little nerve right next to it. It's called the ulnar nerve.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you hit your funny bone. That's the nerve you feel. That
Oh,
sensation
the one
you
that.
get.
Okay.
It ain't that funny.
Oh.
Nah, Okay. But anyway, yeah. So without doing a proper assessment, I can't really say for sure what is causing this person's pain. All we know is it's easier for them to do this than to do this.
Mm.
So something tells me that I would lead it back to the shoulder, because your shoulder position is what's changing, not so much what's happening at the elbow. The elbow is just, it's either straightening or bending.
Mm-hmm.
But the shoulder position is putting him either at an advantage or a disadvantage. So, to answer that question would be a little complicated, because I don't know what is exactly causing it. But if I had to guess, I would say they're probably compensating in the shoulder a little bit, and that is more likely what's causing their pain, rather than they're just feeling it in the elbow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then what would be the causes of, because he says tennis elbow, so maybe I don't want to say maybe he's got that, but
Yeah.
how would one, let's say, get tennis elbow?
So tennis elbow. So tennis elbow is irritation at there's a tendon right here. It's a common extensor tendon for the forearm muscles.
Uh-huh.
And it's usually it's called eccentric force. So you swing a tennis racket, and you notice my wrist. I don't know if everybody can see. It's in this extended position.
Right.
And then you hit the racket and the ball, and then you get loaded into this flexion position. Well, that flexion position is stretching this muscle, but it's also causing it to, we need the arm to slow down. So you're actually contracting the muscle at the same time. So a muscle that lengthens while it's being used while it's lengthening, that's called an eccentric load.
Okay.
And that puts a lot of strain on the tendon. So if you hit a tennis ball a couple hundred times playing a game of tennis, you can get irritation or tendinitis in this area. That's why they call it tennis elbow.
Okay.
Yeah. So most people, they don't, you don't really know the difference. There's a thing called golfer's elbow, and that's where you get tendinitis here. And that's from people that are golfing and they hit the ground too much, and it cocks their wrist back. And the ground always wins, not so much your arm.
That does.
Yeah. So that they usually get an irritation at the medial condyle or the medial tendon, a common tendon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then how would, let's say if someone does have tennis elbow, how would they recover? Because I see sleeves.
Have tennis, if you do, yeah. So what the sleeve does is they put a little sleeve around their forearm, and instead of the load going to the elbow, it's loading right here at the muscle. So it's avoiding the tendon altogether. So they usually feel a little better. It's a temporary fix. It's not a long-term thing. And usually if they go heavy on something, it probably isn't going to give them enough relief that they're looking for. But the thing that would work this is the thing that caused it. It's eccentric loading, but in a controlled manner, not so much like playing tennis, but like getting weights and doing like wrist, you're doing wrist extension and then slowly going into flexion, like with a weighted bar or dumbbells.
Okay.
And then, doing gentle stretching, icing that tendon. There's a lot of different things. You could do elbow flexion with wrist extension, and then going into elbow extension and wrist flexion. So it would just be a number of those things. You're just trying to load the tendon so you build the strength of the tendon. So then when you go and do an activity like tennis, you're not having any issues with it.
Okay.
You're building the strength, because it's one thing to build the strength of the muscle, but you also have to have a strong tendon. And that's why you'll see a lot of injuries. Like the muscle's really strong, but then they go and rip the tendon. And then that's, it's not so much that the muscle was weak. It was just the tendon was weak.
Okay.